There was nothing like this. This was just, there's no way to describe it, you know.
It was easier for people to communicate with people in the States than it was with each other on the island.
I made sure that I did as much as I could to really try to help the public. But in the end, you don't reach everybody. In the end, nobody was expecting this. Nobody knew the dangers of how it really was going to be. From one day having this paradise to within hours just having it all collapse was very unreal.
It's just incredible. You can't imagine. You're told what it might be like, but it's unimaginable. It really is.
I was just looking at each house passed by, at each post on the ground, at everything that was just shattered on this natural, normal road for me to get home, and all I could think of is I hope their home is in one piece.
The grocery stores, the lines were a mile long. Going into the gas stations, the lines were a mile long, and I'm saying a literal mile. The noise is amazing, and the pollution, the air pollution, is you just look out and you see puffs of black, ugly smoke everywhere. I was trying to explain it to somebody who was in the States. I said, you're driving right now. You're on a road trip. Imagine every street, every single power line down, and you're completely cut off from the world communication. That's what it's like in Puerto Rico. It was just horrendous, and it still is that way in many, many parts of the country.
Nobody believed that the aftermath was going to be way worse than just sustaining winds for about 72 hours. The aftermath is still going on and will go on for the next couple of months.
A lot of people have lost communication and can't get to their families, and they don't know their status right now.
The turning point for me was when I saw my mother. And she just walked up to me, and she looked at me, and she held me so tight. And she says, "This is what you were meant to do. She told me, don't cry, because you did everything you could do for us and for Puerto Rico, and you were born to do this. This was your mission, and you were able to do it in your lifetime, and you stayed strong for them, you stayed strong for us, and this is why you're here. This is your life, and this is your calling." Now that 2017 happened, it gave us actually tools. It gave us the experience to actually have under our belts for when it actually does happen again.
Well, you can't stop. You can't sit down. You have your moments of despair. I will not, sugarcoat that. There's definitely moments of despair. But you can't, I'm not going to abandon my property. I'm not going to leave my country right now when I can still stay here and I can still help out, or I can still offer shelter eventually for people who are coming down to work. It's the only way you can survive. You have to keep moving forward. You can't stop. You can't stop.
For more information on how you can help Puerto Rico and the hurricane relief efforts around the U.S. and the Caribbean, visit weathernationtv.com.
We're warm and dry right now, but changes are on the way, including a chance of thunderstorms and much cooler air. I'll break down the timing of it coming up also this evening.
The city of Charleston is looking to upgrade their water treatment system, and the new technology isn't cheap. Plus, lawmakers could start stepping on the accelerator on a bill that would increase the state's speed limit. All that and more is coming up. Your only local news on PBS starts right now. city of Charleston is hoping a new system will clean out wastewater and not their pocketbook. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kaylee Custer. We'll get back to that story in just a moment, but first, the warm weather is leaving us and some storms could be headed our way. We check in now with Skywatch local forecaster Jesse Gwynn in the Weather Center.
Kaylee, good evening. Changes, that about sums up the forecast. Pretty much everything is going to change. The sunny day streak, that's leaving us. The temperatures, they're changing as well. Here's what we've got on SkyTrack right now. System off to our west, already causing some isolated showers and a few sprinkles throughout central Illinois. That's what we've got right now. Temperatures are in the mid-60s across much of the viewing area. Cooler spots to the north as we've got warmer air moving in from the south. High temperatures today, well, they got almost to 70 throughout most of the viewing or throughout portions of the viewing area. Did reach that 70-degree mark in the southern counties, so things again are changing. The sunny days, as I mentioned, that streak is gone as well. Thanks to Jason Howell for sending us this photo. You're not going to see that sun as much over the next couple days. In fact, storms possible. I'll tell you about it coming up.
Thanks, Jesse. The Charleston wastewater plant is getting a new system that comes with a big price tag. On Tuesday, the Charleston City Council approved a $600,000 upgrade to the plant that includes new ultraviolet disinfectant technology. Officials say the upgrade will bring the plant up to code and will improve the wastewater cleaning process. The Illinois Environmental Protection Agency is cracking down on the operation and maintenance of wastewater facilities by enacting stricter disinfection laws. City officials say construction on the project will start in August. Illinois government workers say they're okay with a strike. The American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees say 81% of union members voted in favor of a strike. Ask Me members have been unable to reach an agreement with Governor Bruce Rauner for 2 years. An Ask Me official says the vote allows the union's executive board to call a strike. This is the first time Ask Me has voted to authorize a strike. Things could start speeding up here in Illinois if lawmakers say yes to a speed limit change. The proposal would raise the speed limit by 5 miles per hour. That means state highways would go up to 60 miles per hour and interstates up to 75. The next hearing for the bill hasn't been set. Newswatch will continue to follow this story. Something else going up, tuition at a local college. Parkland's Board of Trustees voted on the increase at their meeting last night. The proposal calls for tuition to go up $7 to about $164 per credit hour and would take effect this summer. Parkland officials say the increase is due to a lack of state budget and other aid.
As a safety precaution at Lake Shelbyville, the Army Corps of Engineers is closing the road across the main dam to all vehicle and pedestrian traffic Tuesday and Wednesday. Officials are closing the road so workers can perform routine maintenance on the dam. The road will be closed on those days from 8 until 3:30. A Hoopeston man is sentenced to life in federal prison for trafficking crystal meth and cocaine in Champaign. Court documents show 37-year-old Jose J.B. Lopez was found guilty of distributing cocaine and methamphetamine with intent to deliver in November of last year. Officials say Lopez was working with a drug cartel in Houston. Federal agents and Champaign police seized 273 grams of nearly pure crystal meth in Rantoul on October 3rd, 2014. A Champaign man is sentenced for robbing a bank earlier this year. Authorities say 30-year-old Jeremy Larson has accepted a plea deal and will spend 7 years behind bars. Police say Larson entered Busey Bank and demanded money before running off. Larson originally pleaded not guilty to financial institution robbery.
And tonight's Health Watch. Spring and summer are right around the corner, and that doesn't just mean bathing suit season, it means mosquitoes. Some health experts consider the tiny flying insects the most deadly creatures on the planet, but scientists and researchers are starting to come up with new mosquito control methods using common household items. Mary Maloney has more.
Malaria, dengue, yellow fever, Zika. Diverse diseases, but all deadly and all transmitted by mosquitoes. Researchers around the world have been brainstorming ideas to tweak everyday products and thus decrease the number of people bitten and infected per year. One of those products is a chair, retrofitted with a bespoke fabric coated in mosquito repellent. The fabric is attached to the underside of the chair, so a person using it never comes into contact with the repellent. That's because the insecticide used is volatile in nature. It evaporates easily and can repel at a greater distance, but could be harmful to skin. According to the project's director, prototypes of this fabric have shown protection for up to 6 months. products containing different insecticide compounds, ones that can be safely used on skin, are also being developed. Anti-mosquito soaps are being tested. The repellent is designed to stay on skin after the soap is washed off. Wearable technology is another focus, and no, we're not talking about your Fitbit. Clothing containing mosquito repellent could protect people throughout the day, and special detergent could extend effectiveness of clothing containing repellent. Other products on the horizon include footwear and jewelry. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
In tonight's Consumer Watch, bank fees are bringing in the big bucks for some of the nation's largest banks. A new report by the S&P Global Market says ATM and overdraft fees brought in more than $6.4 billion last year for banks like J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo. The report also says even though the public may not like the fees, banks don't have any plans to scale back on charges anytime soon. And speaking of money, someone is a winner of a lot of it in Indiana. Lottery officials say the sole winning ticket for an estimated $435 million Powerball jackpot was sold at a convenience store in Lafayette. Hoosier Lottery spokesman Dennis Rosebrough says the winner has 180 days to claim the prize and can do so unanimously. Powerball is played in 44 states, plus Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The top prize falls to $40 million for Saturday's drawing.
The University of Illinois is kicking off their 150th birthday celebration. U of I says they're starting a 15-month-long celebration for the institution's 150th birthday. The party will start next Tuesday with a ceremony at the Cranert Center in Urbana. Musicians from the university will perform, and the chancellor will cut a crowd-sized cake. The University of Illinois was established in 1867 as a land-grant institution. A weather event that includes some storms could kick off our weekend, and Jesse, the temperatures are dropping too.
That's absolutely correct. Here's what we've got. We've got one more warm day, but the chance for some thunderstorms and cold returns behind that. I'm going to tell you all about it and break it down coming up in the full Skywatch forecast next. Well, things are changing, as I mentioned already, and as we take a look at SkyTrack right now, we can already tell those changes are coming our way very soon. We see on SkyTrack some showers moving into the area, and that's because of a system that's making its way into our region. And we've got clouds throughout all of Illinois because of that system that is working its way in, and we'll see that system continue to bring us some showers, maybe even some thunderstorms as we go through our Friday. Right now, see just a little bit of that rain on SkyTrack, a little bit of light rain in Champaign and Vermilion County in East Central Illinois. That's where we're at right now. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. Temperatures are cool in the northern counties of the viewing area, in the 50s in Champaign and Danville. We start getting into the 60s as we move on to the south, as we've got southerly winds that are bringing us warmer air in those southern counties. And that's because of this system that is off to our west and our south that's going to continue pushing our way over the next 24 hours. Going through the hour-by-hour futurecast tonight, temperatures, they really don't move a whole lot as we check out those going through the overnight hours, only getting down to around 60 as we do have those southerly winds ahead of this system helping to warm us up. As we start off your Friday, temperatures again right around 60. By the time we get into the afternoon, going to warm things up even by noon into the mid to upper 60s as this system again continues to approach us, and those winds are out of the south. Rumbles of thunder possible because we've got this warm air and cold air back behind this system, so that difference helping to fuel these thunderstorms that are possible as we go through your Friday. So again, seeing the clouds for the most part, but we will see some showers as we go through the afternoon hours. Here that system comes. This is a cold front, and behind this, well, we've got colder air moving in. And these white lines here, these are called isobars. This system, very strong. The tighter those are together indicate strong winds, so we're in for a breezy Friday as well. Again, you can see those lines getting close together, so conditions will be breezy for your Friday too. Now going through the late hours on Friday afternoon and evening, temperatures in the 60s still, but as that cold front moves on through, temperatures drop down significantly going into the evening hours. As far as severe weather, Storm Prediction Center has us under a marginal risk. Certain portions of the viewing area, the eastern counties and over into Indiana, in the slight risk. For the most of this, though, going to keep the most of this looks like in central Indiana and over into Ohio. That's where Storm Prediction Center has put out that that enhanced risk. But again, for us, the severe chance is possible. Skywatch team will continue to keep you updated on that tonight. Of course, tomorrow we'll be here tracking it as well. So we go through the afternoon hours tomorrow. There's that cold front, and it'll push on out of our region going through the overnight hours. Again, you saw those flurries there for just a little bit. They are possible as we go through your Saturday, so we could see just a few flurries, the colder air back behind this, and that precipitation still lingering for just a little bit as we start off your Saturday, but then running through Futurecast as we go through the late hours in the afternoon, seeing those clouds continue to push out because of high pressure that will start to move in and dominate the region. Now, I want to show you the temperature difference, and we can use the upper level of the atmosphere to really be able to differentiate where the air masses are. We've got the warm air here, and the jet stream is the dividing line. As we put Futurecast into motion, you can see that jet pushing down in, this colder air mass moving into our region, and that continues to be the case going into the weekend. So there we have those colder temperatures. Take a look at that. What a difference going into your weekend. 37 for the high on Friday. That's certainly much different, Kaylee, than we have been seeing, but really it's much more closer to average than we have been.
Right. Well, we've got to enjoy those nice temperatures all week, but the weekend, it looks like the temperatures might not be so nice.
We knew the change was coming at some point or another, right?
Unfortunately. Thanks, Jesse. And still to come, Indiana State Police say they've received nearly 4,000 tips in the murder case involving 2 teenagers from Delphi. But there's been no arrest, so the cash reward for information is growing. We'll have the latest on the case coming up. 4 people appear in a Vigo County courtroom accused of neglect after the death of a 9-year-old who authorities say was malnourished. The 4 are being held in the Vigo County jail under a $250,000 bond each. The Vigo County Sheriff's Office says officers responded Tuesday to a 911 call about a child in cardiac arrest at a home near Fontanet. Officers say Cameron Hoopengarner was pronounced dead at a hospital. Vigo County Sheriff Greg Ewing says Cameron was blind and weighed less than 15 pounds. Charges against the 4 include neglect of a dependent resulting in death. They return to court next week. Investigators are looking for the one tip or clue that could solve the mystery as to who killed 2 teens in rural Indiana. A call center is staying busy at all hours, talking to those they hope have the answer. Lindsay Eaton reports.
At every hour of the day, there's a dispatcher working in the call center. They've gotten tips from Canada, Alaska, and a lot from right here in Delphi. They're waiting on that one that helps track down the girl's killer.
Her bestie, Aunt Ann.
Abby Williams and Liberty German, seen here in this video singing and acting silly like teenage best friends do. More than a week later, their murders are still a mystery as detectives continue digging for clues. Phone calls to the tip line keep coming in.
We're hopeful. You know, every time it rings, we wonder if that's going to be the call, the person, whatever it is, the clue that we need to find who it is.
Last Thursday, investigators set up a tip line dedicated to calls about Abby and Libby's murder investigation. So far, dispatchers have fielded more than 1,000 tips.
It doesn't matter how big or small the information they give us. It doesn't matter how close or far the information is. Every call's looked into.
Dispatchers from Carroll County, surrounding counties, and even volunteers are working all day and all night.
It is very personal. It's our town. It's our community.
Today was the call center's busiest day after police released this audio clip recovered from Libby's phone. 3 words, down the hill. Investigators believe it could be the voice of this man who they've labeled as their main suspect, or possibly another man involved in the killings near the Monon High Bridge Trail.
Someone knows that voice. Someone knows that picture.
Even at more than 1,000 tips, it's not enough. Investigators need more.
But we can do what we can do, and that is pray, right?
The pastor leading this vigil is the same chaplain who prays with law enforcement officers every morning at their briefings.
There's still someone out there, or maybe someone's out there, who has the audacity to take another person's life, and they are in harm's way.
Until there's an arrest and justice for Abby and Libby, this community refuses to give up. We've said it over and over. We're going to say it again. Here is that tip line number. It's 844-459-5786. We want to remind you, you can remain anonymous, and there's a $41,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest.
Police say the bodies of 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams were found in a wooded area near the Delphi Historic Trail on February 14th. They say their deaths have been ruled a double homicide, but a cause of death hasn't been released. The reward for information leading to the arrest of a suspect or suspects in the murders has increased to $50,000.
Nationally, the Trump administration has removed federal protection for transgender students. The Department of Justice and the Department of Education have rescinded instructions that schools nationwide respect the gender identities of transgender students. Under the previous guidelines, schools receiving federal funds had to allow all transgender students access to facilities that match their gender identities. But the White House withdrew that policy yesterday. President Trump believes policy regarding transgender bathrooms should be decided at the state level. Mayor?
Tonight in sports, the Lakeland men's basketball team finds itself in a high-scoring affair. Did they come out on top? But first, the Mattoon High School girls basketball team faces its toughest test yet of the season as it continues to make school history. Thanks for watching. Your WEIU Sports Watch report is coming up next. It all goes down tonight. 2 number 1 seeds and only one gets one step closer to a state championship. The Mattoon High School girls basketball team continues its historic season with a matchup against Rochester in the sectional championship tonight. The 2 number 1 seeds face off with plenty of similarities as both are ranked in the top 20 in Illinois. Rochester comes in with just 3 losses overall this season, while MHS tries to stay alive with just 1. The winner does get one step closer, but still has 2 more games just to qualify for a state title. Tip-off is at 7, and Sports Watch will be at the game and have all the highlights on tomorrow's edition. It's still the early rounds, but the playoff action also continues for some high school boys basketball teams. Tuscola saw its season come to an end with a 49-41 loss to Argenta, and Monticello barely escaped to the next round with a 44-42 win over Tolono Unity. Payne got the job done, defeating Shelbyville 52-44, while Robinson hands Lawrenceville a 66-55 loss. Arcola also played its final game of the season, falling to number 2 seed Chrisman 68-50 as Effingham St. Anthony just dominated Odin 64-24. The basketball action continues in the college ranks with the Indiana State basketball team taking on a Midwest rival. Sycamores hosted Northern Iowa last night and made 11 three-pointers in a game they just never trailed in. Everett Clemens notched a double-double, while Brenton Scott added 14 points to give ISU a 69-59 win over the Panthers. Sycamore's defense was key as they held Northern Iowa to shoot just 30% from behind the arc. ISU's last regular season game is Saturday at Evansville. The Lakeland College men's basketball team was also feeling it from deep and just about everywhere else. The Lakers hosted Lewis and Clark College last night with both teams just scoring at ease. Despite trailing by double digits at one point in the second half, Lakeland went on to come back with a 115-114 overtime victory. Lakers improved to 12-15 with the win and now face only Central Saturday at home. The Parkland men and women's basketball teams also returned to action, but did so on the road. The road test wasn't difficult for the men's team, making easy work of Illinois Central in an 80-65 victory. With the win, the men have now won 15 straight games and continue to back their 7th overall ranking in the NJCAA polls. The women couldn't find the same success, though, falling in an 87-85 thriller against Lewis and Clark College. After bouncing back from a loss the other day, the Cobras have now dropped 2 of their last 3 games. Chicago Blackhawks are also in action at home tonight after a record-breaking road trip. Second-place Blackhawks host the Arizona Coyotes after winning a franchise record 7 consecutive games away from the United Center. Chicago tries to keep that momentum going at home against an Arizona team they already beat 4-3 earlier this month. Hawks will need to contain the Coyotes' Martin Hanzal as he leads the team in goals and ranks 3rd in points. Puck drops at 7:30. Finally tonight, the Chicago White Sox are retiring former pitcher Mark Buehrle's number this summer. Buehrle was a member of the 2005 World Series winning team and later pitched a perfect game for the White Sox. He will be the 12th Sox player to ever have a number retired. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, coming up, I'll recap the possibility of a few rumbles of thunder in the days ahead, along with the cooler weekend.
But first, the stars are ready to shine at this year's Oscars. We'll show you the preparations underway to get Hollywood ready for its big night. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU. Finally tonight, preparations are underway for the Super Bowl of Hollywood, the Oscars. Here you see the famous red carpet getting unrolled and prepared. The stars will once again walk it before the 89th Academy Awards taking place Sunday night at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. Jimmy Kimmel is hosting the live show. The red carpet coverage starts at 7 with the ceremony starting at 8:30. Jesse, changes are in the forecast.
That's absolutely correct. Temperatures still warm tomorrow, windy, And we do have the chance of thunderstorms. Skywatch Weather Team will continue to monitor those and let you know of any severe weather alerts, but a strong cool down is coming by this time Saturday. Temperatures will only be in the upper 30s for our high temperature. We'll slowly warm things back up as we get into the first part of the week.
Well, I think that is a great week, and then the weekend comes and it's not so great.
Yeah, no, we've had these temperatures in the 60s. We knew it was coming at some point or another.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks for joining us tonight for WEIU TV News Watch, the area's only local newscast on PBS.
Be sure to join us again at 9:57 for News Watch Nightcap.
And for more news and the latest weather conditions in the area, log on to our website, weiu.net. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Welcome back to Weather Nation this morning. It's time for a tropical update. Unfortunately, we had to bring you back out to the tropics here in Cancun, Mexico, where they could be bracing for some very heavy downpours associated with a system that could develop within the next 5 days. We're talking about it here in the Western Caribbean. And you know what? We've been pretty calm over the last several weeks, but we do have an area that we're watching that has a moderate chance of development. Within the next 5 days, we're giving this system a 50% chance of developing into maybe our next named storm. And the reason why is we have low wind shear across the region. Wind shear tends to tear apart systems, so when we don't have that wind shear, that's usually better for development, as well as very warm temperatures across not just the Gulf of Mexico, but the Western Caribbean, where temperatures in the water are about 85 degrees, so extremely warm bath water for some. Ophelia was our last named storm, so if this one does get named, it's going to be named Philippe, and it's happening in an area that's very common for this time of year. October, we typically look towards the Western Caribbean and also the Gulf of Mexico and the southeastern coastline for the possibility of development. We'll keep you updated on this, but we have to keep you updated on the severe weather that's happening across the Northeast. Kate, Boston bracing for some strong storms today.
Yeah, and they're already seeing some gloomy skies for the Tuesday morning. Rain showers coming down, temperatures mild in the 60s, but we do have that threat for severe storms, as Andy just said. Now, that's going to be mainly across the eastern coast from Albany all the way down into Atlantic City, but Burlington, Vermont, you could see a severe storm or two, even Boston, because they are under that marginal risk, and we will continue as we work into today to work in those rain showers. Mainly just a soggy start, but as we work into the afternoon hours, that's when we have that sunshine, some daytime heating, really firing off convection as we work into afternoon. Really see it firing off with those reds, that line of showers. Could even have the main threats being strong winds, hail, and we're not ruling out a tornado for the major metropolitan areas of Waterbury, New York, Philadelphia, even up to Albany. So for today, main threat is going to be across the Northeast, but as we head to Little Rock, it's a quiet start, but very windy out there, Andy.
Yeah, not just in Little Rock, but a lot of areas going to be seeing some strong winds today. 55, the current temperature in Little Rock, winds around 10, but those are going to pick up. Look at all the wind alerts that we have across the country. We're going to start down here across the desert Southwest. Southern California, wind advisories in place, 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts across LA. Now, Little Rock also seeing those wind gusts, a little bit less, but upwards of about 30 to 35 miles per hour. That's going to be felt even down towards Texarkana, Shreveport, and even as far south as Alexandria, Louisiana, we could see some very strong winds. And associated with that system that Kate was just mentioning, yeah, we're going to see winds upwards of 50 miles per hour. That's going to be outside of your normal thunderstorm wind. So be ready for maybe a little bit of damage to tree limbs, especially with how many leaves are still on those trees. Also across the upper Midwest, winds are bracing, we are bracing for winds upwards of 50 plus miles per hour, even to Great Falls, Montana, where we could see 60, 65 mile per hour winds across the region. Now down towards other areas of Michigan, we're actually expecting the rain to continue, but Kate, that could transition into maybe a little bit of snow by the end of the week.
Maybe even a little bit of snow. A lot of people not quite ready for it, but we're seeing rain across Michigan right now, even Madison, Wisconsin. A chilly start, but a rainy one too. However, as we head into our day on Thursday, we see a dip in the jet stream. That's going to give our temperatures a major cool down, about 20 or so degrees below average for this time of year. And then as we work into Thursday, we'll see even that cold air pooling across the Four Corners, High Plains, and that's going to continue to push off to the east as we head into this weekend. And with all those blasts of cold air, well, we're going to work in a few chances for some snow showers, especially across the upper peninsula of Michigan and into the Arrowhead of Minnesota. So Grand Marais could be seeing some snow snow. And as we take you out to Los Angeles, well, it's not snow and cold. We're talking about major heat.
Major heat, the complete opposite of the spectrum here across LA. 72 the current temperature in Los Angeles this morning. Winds not really too impressive, but like I showed you just a minute ago, we do have some windy conditions expected today. Yesterday we had high temperatures across Southern California, broken records, dozens of records broken. We were ranging from 100 to 105 degrees. Today, another day of excessive heat and heat advisories across the coast of Southern California. We're talking temperatures again in the upper 90s, breaking that 100-degree mark. Couple that heat with the windy conditions that we have, dry air. We have red flag warnings again across much of Southern California. So a lot to talk about here on Weather Nation. I hope you stay with us throughout the hour. Coming up in just a minute, we're taking you back out to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and talking about today's severe weather threat. Yesterday, it was across the upstate where they had multiple tornadoes reported. We'll give you all the updates you need coming up.